For this episode of the Future Marketing Video Series, we're here with Paudie Fearon of Wibble, WordPress design agency, and we're talking WordPress websites. So thanks very much for coming along, Paudie. Appreciate the time. So if we could just start off, if you could just give a bit of background into Wibble and your personal experience and how long the company's been around for.
Okay. I suppose at the very, very start, I was Wibble. It started off entirely as a freelance gig. So I had been working for a number of big corporations around the world, GE Energy, ABC Australia, and for indirectly for Saatchi and Saatchi in New Zealand. I lived around the world, traveling for a good part of my 20s, and then decided to move home and start a business. So came home without any real prospects or leads or anything like that there in 2013. I got married in October and started Wibble in November, which were two big decisions to make very, very, very close together. Just working out of a rental first of all in the Craiga Road and then in Rosetta in a very small little shoebox office. And it was tough, but we've been going now since 2013. Built up a good reputation of being good at WordPress, being reliable. Now there's a team of 4 of us with strong plans to recruit in the next couple of months to close to double the size of the staff that we have. We've good few projects lined up, a few partnerships lined up that are just starting, and it's going all right.
So first question, I suppose, whenever people are thinking about doing any website project, there's a number of choices open to them. So why WordPress? There are plenty of options out there. Why would WordPress be somebody's choice?
Yes, there are plenty of choices, and I've used a good few of them. In very simple terms, why we went with WordPress as a studio, people like it. I suppose when I was first starting to do freelance work in like 2008 or so, sort of Joomla, which no one really uses anymore, Joomla and WordPress were essentially neck and neck. Drupal was there about as well, and I had to make a decision. I wanted to make a decision which CMS I was going down to use. And speaking to people that had used both, the admin side of Joomla and the upload side of it and thing was very complex and not easy, not user friendly, and people generally said they liked WordPress. They found, especially when they just bought themes, they found them not ticking every box, but it was a lot closer than getting a theme or just using Joomla. I find it very easy to use. Clients find it very easy to use. I suppose also it's not going anywhere. Would be another reason. It's currently over 30% of all the websites in the world. So there's no real risk in using it. It's open source. Some people get caught with studios using in-house content management systems, which can be good. They're very bespoke. They can be great, but you're essentially tied to them in one way or the other. That's sort of why we've always sort of went down the route of open source with export options and import options. In-house CMSs tend not to integrate with other. So if you want to move, it's generally a case of starting from scratch. In general, WordPress is very easy to get going as well. cPanel and different management suites like that just have a one-click install, and you could have a WordPress site up and running in seconds. Really, it's bare bones, but it's fairly cheap to run. You could use it on shared hosting. There's a swathe of reasons why, and I just think it's. I know that sounds like a complete nerdy sentence, but I think it's great. There's very, very little in it so far that we've wanted to do that we couldn't do. Highly configurable. Yeah.
It strikes me, talking to people offering different website platforms, that it's a bit like the affiliation that people have to iOS or Android or whatever. People are very firmly in one camp or the other, and and there are very strong opinions either for or against different platforms. Is that sort of what you find with the developers that you would have come across over the years?
Yes, in an annoying way, WordPress gets a lot of slack from developers. People, especially software developers, tend to sort of look down their nose at it, thinking it's just a blogging suite. And it was originally, and that's why when you log in, you see prominently comments and posts and tags and categories, and that's what it's built around. But it has evolved. It has evolved so much more since then. We run very, very popular e-commerce stores in it. We run our own customer relationship manager that we built in-house. It's highly configurable. The only sort of camp I would very much put myself into would be open source. I would not. I would very much recommend against going proprietary or in-house. With open source, you have so many more options available, be it Drupal or Joomla or WordPress or other ones or other open source options are available. But this is the way we've sort of built the studio around it. And we would recommend, generally when people are coming to us or looking advice, just be wary of your exit strategy. If you're ever leaving, relationships aren't always peachy from start to finish, so you have to be very aware of how you're getting out of this relationship. So generally, open source will have a swathe of export options that you can take essentially all your content on your website with you, irrespective of what your contract is.
Okay, over the last number of years, there have been developments of landing page platforms like ClickFunnels and Lead Pages, and then there are people who have large social media followings, whether they be on Facebook or Instagram or anywhere else. And you hear fairly regularly the point being made that with the advent of these platforms that I can access at very low cost on a monthly subscription level, or that I could just use my Facebook page, and do I really need my own website anymore? What would your response be to somebody who came to Wibble and said that?
That's a terrible idea. No, I would say there's a place for them all. I would be wary of relying entirely upon social media as your only route to market. You're susceptible to many things, even if you have hundreds of thousands of likes or followers. When they're on your page, they're constantly being inundated with your competitors. Essentially, Facebook are there trying to get people who are even on your page to click other pages, to click ads, things like that there. With regard to ClickFunnels, yes, and the drag and drop and the ease of use of ClickFunnels and Squarespace and all, fantastic and absolutely have a place. And I would encourage people to use them certainly at the start, but when you're trying to do really bespoke, tailored solutions with, where you're trying to drive like CRO, or you have a specific task that needs done because you're reliant on other people's proprietary software or their own servers or things like that, you're limited in what you can do. When it comes to WordPress or any other open source, because you have everything running on your own server, you've essentially full control over it. You're just piggybacking off the work that a team, like thousands of developers over the years have worked on. In saying that, I think relying entirely on your own website isn't great either, because also you're relying on essentially Google to allow people to get to you. People very rarely just see a bus go past with the URL and go straight to it. Certainly in the last couple of years, you've seen just the number of ads increase in number and decrease in visibility. The ad little tag has got smaller and smaller and changed colour. So you're up against it to get people onto the site. So it's a multifaceted approach to getting people onto your own website. And when you have them on your own website, you control the narrative. You can guide them in a way. You can know a lot better what they're doing. You can do A/B testing. You can do things like that there to check are things working, what people are going, where the bottlenecks are, where people are leaving. You can't do that with social media. But 100%, it's not a case of just having your own WordPress site, or your own website. We would always have our approach generally for ourselves is use social media and things like that there as a conduit to getting them onto the site, and then you control it a lot more there. You don't have any ads, you don't have any little nags to get them off to a competitor's site. You're just in control.